the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
How good is that?
If anyone's ever left you a note, maybe they had a bit of a crush on you and thought, I might write a note. Remember, we had a mate, Cam, Chrissy Swan, that Fitzy and I know, and he decided when he was at the park one day, he saw this really attractive girl get out of the car, so he decided to leave a note. He wrote on a piece of paper and put it under her windscreen wiper, and it said, "This is not a fine, but you are."
Oh dear!
That's too much.
And
I
that's
love the idea of a handwritten note. It's so old fashioned, and I just want to know, Whipper, does it count the note that you left me at work that just said, "Swanee, can I borrow $100?"
That's
Is that the same?
Well,
that
was a sort of a more of it was definitely love, but it was more of a trust exercise.
Okay, sure.
And unfortunately, you have brought it up on air, so that failed. Thanks for the hungy. Let's move on to a girl by the name of Steph. She was waiting at the airport, and you know when you're at the airport and you see the captain walk past, and he's got his hat on, he's got his 4 stripes on his lapel, and he's ready to go. And
it's the equivalent of seeing the person that you've gone to see in concert, getting ready to get on stage. It's like, oh my God, a magical unicorn.
And when there's so many people at a busy airport, and then you see the man and he's in uniform, it's like he's controlling the world. And you know that you're about to put your life in that man's hands.
Hot.
And you love it.
Yeah, you react to pilots a lot different to normal people, though, Whip, because you have a fear of flying. So you go over there basically on your knees saying, "Is the plane all right? Is everything? What's the weather like?"
That is not true at all. Any chance?
Are you drunk? Did you sleep last night? All that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Are you on any meds? What's going on in your life? Are you happy in your relationship? You are.
Blow
good.
into this bag.
Let's go. So Steph was waiting at the airport and she saw this pilot walk past. Now, that was one thing, but for the pilot to then notice her was another thing. He wandered off and in that time grabbed a pen and a napkin and he wrote something on a piece of paper on that napkin and then wandered back past Steph and handed it to her without a word.
It's so poetic. Read it out.
Here we go. He wrote, "I have seen the whole world and you are the most beautiful human in it."
What?
Is it human or
Sorry,
girl?
woman. Sorry, I misread it. Woman in it. We're going to go again on that, guys.
How long have you been reading for?
No,
Say it again.
Absolutely murdered this.
Human is cold.
yeah, human means like I could go either way. I'm going again.
Say it again.
Is he a robot?
Are we live, Tommy, or can we go back
we'll
sort of 30
clean this
seconds?
up in the edit.
Okay,
yeah,
clean it
that'll
up.
be fine.
I have seen the whole world and you are the most beautiful woman in it. Oh, my God.
Well, I don't know if this is, going to be a popular opinion, but I love this.
So do I. It's divided a few people saying that's unprofessional. You shouldn't do that. You're in a position of power. Shut up. He's having a crack.
Oh, he's just a man and she's just a woman.
He's a man on a mission. He flies planes and he loves women.
He didn't leave any details, which means that he's also married with 4 kids.
Doesn't
but
matter.
The compliment remains.
Yes. And I'd like to know too, Swanee, if you're not leaving a number or making a further advance to stay in touch with that woman, how many times has he written that?
Well, see, this is the other thing that I want to ask, right? And I immediately when I think of a pilot, I think of Leonardo DiCaprio and Catch Me If You Can. And why can't you don't have to be a pilot, right? Why can't you hang out at airports with the uniform on?
Oh, yeah.
And you just pick up women at airports. Why can't you do that, Swanee?
That's sex by deception.
Yes, it is, and that should only be used in workplaces and not in public transport situations.
Well, look, I like that there was no. I like that there was no follow-up, that there was no, unwritten sentence of you are the most beautiful woman in the world and I would like to sleep with you. It was almost like a community service announcement. That's something that she needs to know.
To hear,
I just think it's beautiful. And also, have you seen her? I think he might be right.
Yeah, I think he's spot on. Maddie's got a story. Producer Maddie, what's your story?
I was at a cafe recently and I ordered my almond cappuccino, and when it came out, it had single ? Written in the latte art.
Maddie, what is going on with you? What sort of juju do you have? Because we did a phoner about, has a stranger approached you and you had a story for that? What's going on?
I don't know.
Because remember I told you about the cafe that we go to, the local one. He started writing on, he would do a love heart. He would just draw a love heart on the top of Lisa's coffee cup. Yeah. And then for our neighbour, he dropped his phone number on the top. He wrote his number on the plastic lid on top of the coffee.
Latte art?
Yeah. And she left her husband and 3 kids, and they've hooked up, and she's now a qualified barista.
Oh, you're joking. No way.
I extended there. Maddie, what did you say to this guy? Was he hot?
I quietly left. I felt very awkward.
And Maddie's in a relationship, mate.
You're engaged.
Yeah. If I was single, I think it's a great way to pick up.
Yeah, but you're not married. So,
No.
I mean, there's still a bit of grey area and some room to move before you do get married.
I don't think there is.
Negative.
I don't think there is a grey area.
misread
Tommy,
it.
that note that you received from that woman saying to be at the Bankstown Court on March 28, was that sort of a romantic tone to it?
It's called being served.
Yeah, more forceful than I would have liked. Yeah.
Got to hand it in person, don't
Wish
you?
me luck, guys.
This is the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
This is an important one because over the weekend, and it's Neurodivergent week too, Hugh van Cuylenburg made a very, very powerful piece to camera from his Imperfects podcast, Fitz.
Yeah, he did. We adore this podcast on this show. They discuss mental health, the challenges that we all have in life, and being vulnerable. And my gosh, the emotion that I had watching Hugh over the weekend, he was talking about the struggles that he's faced as the father of a neurodivergent child. Have a listen to this.
3 years ago, one of our kids was diagnosed autistic. I know life is unpredictable, but I never saw this coming. I never anticipated that I might one day experience this amount. That I might one day experience this amount of pain. The pain of being a parent to an autistic child is not the child, it's the world. The pain is seeing your child standing on the sidelines, confused, distressed and left out, while the other kids instinctively understand the rules and the social norms. It's watching the world overwhelm them and then holding them through yet another meltdown. And if you've ever been in public holding your child through their hardest moment, feeling the weight of every stare, every whispered comment, every judgment, you're not alone. To the strangers who see a child in distress and choose to laugh or judge, you don't have to understand. Just be kind. But to the parents listening to this, carrying more than anyone knows, I feel you. I feel your pain. Your child is extraordinary. Not despite their differences, but because of them. They love fiercely. And even in their hardest moments, even when they cannot say it, they feel your love. They know you are their safe place. You are the most important thing in their world. The one who never stops fighting for them.
Oh, Hugh van Cuylenburg, welcome to the show, first of all. From the man that's hit the first 6 onto the Prime Minister's house at Kirribilli House, to go from that to hearing what we heard over the weekend. We appreciate you coming on the show. It must have been very tough for you leading up to that, Hugh, knowing what you were about to do and being that vulnerable.
Yeah, that's the first time I've listened back to it since I did it. We actually did it probably about 3 weeks ago. And now I'm back in the same place again. It's I've never experienced anything like that. So I had the idea to write that letter or to do something on the podcast and actually talk about the struggles of being a parent of a neurodivergent child, in our case, autism. And I came up with the idea in November, and it quite literally took me 2 months to write that because I just wanted to get every word. But to honour them, I just wanted to make sure I got every word right. And every person and parent who understands this journey, I just really wanted to get every single word right. So it took way too long to write it, and then when it came to actually reading it out in the studio, I've never felt an emotion like that before. My hands were shaking for a good half an hour after it. And I think anyone out there who is a parent of a neurodivergent child, you don't give yourself too much time to get... you don't cry that much because you've got to get on to the next challenge. And I just, for some reason, 8 years worth of tears came out in about half an hour and completely flooded our studio.
Do you know what? What I loved about it too, Hugh, knowing you personally, is that it's something you hadn't shared. I mean, obviously this is something you've been dealing with for a while now, and learning to understand and learning, what life is like and how you move forward with things too, and the adventure that you're going on. But you'd never spoken publicly about this.
Yeah, I wanted, there was a couple of things I needed to understand it. My wife and I needed to understand it properly ourselves. We also needed to tell our child that they were autistic and have them understand it and then have them be okay with it. And then I needed to understand what the autistic community, how they want to be talked about and how other parents in a similar position want. So it just took a long time. I didn't want to upset anyone in the process. I mean, some of the stuff that we go through, I mean, anyone listening in the car right now who has a child who's on the spectrum or ADHD or whatever it is, just to acknowledge the battle you have been through already that no one knows about just to get out the door today. Now started at 4 this morning. Autistic kids really struggle sleeping. When they wake up, they don't go back to sleep. Well, that's our experience. So getting our child out the door on not much sleep was a battle this morning. But, I mean, I remember... the whole reason I did it really was I want people to understand that often if you see a child who you think is misbehaving, before you look at the parent as in, we had a situation last year, we took our child to the football at the MCG and had to leave about 20 minutes in because they were having such a big meltdown, and it was literally 20 minutes into the game and I was still out the front of the stadium at the MCG about half an hour after the game had finished, 2 hours later, because they were on the floor, they couldn't move, they were just having the biggest meltdown. It was too overwhelming for them, and the amount of looks I got from people. I had one lady say it was something like, "You need to sort that out," or as if I could just. And I'm not angry at those people. I just want people to know that this is not a child misbehaving. This is a child who's completely overwhelmed by the world. And my message in that is the next time you're walking past a child who you think is being naughty, there's a chance that they're being overwhelmed, and you just need to just a kind look to the parents is all it takes.
Yeah. Well, Hugh, can I be honest? I want to be extremely honest with you because I've done it myself. Growing up with my two boys and watching them play footy, I'm getting about emotional talking about this now. Watching you over the weekend, mate, is that you really struck a chord with me because there's boys that have played in my junior football team who sit in the back pocket and they don't want to go near the ball. And I remember saying comments to my wife going, "What the hell is that kid doing?" You really struck a chord with me because now I'm like, you've really got to sit back and think about what you're saying here. You don't know what that kid's going through. I don't know what their parents are going through. I've got no idea. But for me to judge that kid because he doesn't want to go near the ball, I just felt really bad about some of the perceptions that I've had of kids over the years and going through junior football. It's a real eye-opener for all parents, even if your child is not neurodivergent. Not at all. Yep. You need to be the one that needs to make the changes here.
Thanks, Fitzy. Yeah, just hearing that is that's beautiful. Thank you for that. Because Auskick's a great example. We took our child to Auskick, and I was so excited to do that, but it lasted 5 minutes, and then it was they had a big meltdown but didn't want to go, so we still had to stay there. And I could see parents going, "What is wrong with?" They were just the looks were just so heartbreaking. I appreciate it, Fitzy. Thanks for that.
Hugh, what I think is a really important message here, because I have some friends, including yourself, with this situation and challenge, and one friend in particular, I think, and I've shared this story with you. They sent their little man to one school, and the school said, "There's not much we can do here for a child like yours." And then they went to another school that completely embraced the difference, completely understood the situation, and made him the star of the show and as comfortable as possible. And I think, you've shared a similar story also, but I think what's so important is for the teachers and schools to understand also what these kids might be going to and how you can welcome and celebrate the difference.
Yeah, I think, we've had a very, very similar journey with our educational pathway for our child. In that one place, kind of said, "Yeah, we do it well," but didn't really listen to what we were suggesting. Sent them to another place who they they had a teacher waiting out the front for them when they turned up, and who would literally celebrate when they turned up every day and just say, cannot believe how lucky we are to have you at our school. Just saying stuff like that all the time. To make them feel really loved and really accepted, and the difference in them was life-changing for all of us. But I think teachers have, the toughest job in the world. I think they're highly empathetic people. I just think all of us have to remember that a child on the spectrum or a child with ADHD, the struggles that they go through, the battles they fight, and the complexities of just getting out the door every day, and actually getting to a place like that where there's so much uncertainty. And I just find my child is my hero, because to get to school every day they're doing something harder than I've ever done in my entire life. They do it every single day. And we have to remember how hard it is for those people, and just to treat them with patience and love and care and kindness.
Well, you are a beautiful man, Hugh. Can we please talk about the 6 that you hit on the Prime Minister's house? Because
I actually thought that was the interview today. I thought that's what we were talking about. So that's been a bit of a...
Has that got a mention on the Imperfects podcast yet? Have you written an open letter to the Prime Minister about getting the ball back? Or?
Just an open letter to the roof.
Well, I think who bowled it to you, Hugh? Because they were feeling a bit down afterwards.
Was it Ray Gun? I'm not sure.
Could have been Ray Gun.
She overpitched, and you pay the price. You don't bowl there to me. I thought everyone knew that.
The kangaroo should never bowl to a professional cricketer.
No, they should not. Or me.
If you haven't listened to the Imperfects podcast before, introduce yourself to it, because it does. And for any parent out there, this is a beautiful episode, Hugh. We really appreciate your honesty, mate, in coming on the show and opening up about this, because, like I said, even if you're not a parent of a neurodivergent child, anyone around you, I think this affects you as well, and the way that you should approach, children in this situation, or anyone, even in the workplace or wherever you are. So, Hugh, we really appreciate your honesty, mate.
I really appreciate having me on, boys. Love you both. And, chat to you soon.
You're beautiful. See you, mate. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Fits in Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, download the Nova Player via the App Store or Google Play.
The Nova Player.